Welcome to Character Sheets. This is a new show from Enter the Gamer Actual. I am your host, the one and the only DocShippy, also known as Gamer Actual. With me is Doc Brutus in all of his furry glory. Say hi, buddy. And what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be giving you the ins and outs of creating characters for Call of Cthulhu. So, building an investigator in Call of Cthulhu can be kind of tricky. As you can see, there's a lot on the character sheet, and this is probably the hardest part of Call of Cthulhu, is building that character. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to streamline this process and make it so it's not a pain in the butt. So you've decided to make a character. What we're going to cover first is the most traditional way of character creation, rolling your character. By doing this, all you're going to need is your character sheet, some 6-sided die, the Keeper's Guide, or the Investigator's Guide, both of which have how to create a character. Now, for rolling your character, in order to do so, what you need to do is roll for your strength, con, luck, dex, appearance, and power, 3d6 times 5. For your size, intelligence, and education, it's 2d6 plus 6 times 5. I know that's a little convoluted, but we'll break it down a little bit more on why these stats are the way they are in another episode. Come on, intelligence. No whammies, no whammies. Ooh. Don't panic. Maybe dice rolling isn't your thing. It's definitely not mine. Thankfully, the guys over at Chaosium, who created the Call of Cthulhu system, put in a point-buy system where you can distribute 460 points throughout the 8 characteristics. Now, the Keeper may want to put in a minimum of 40 points in any one of those skills, so that way you don't have too much of a discrepancy throughout. Personally, I like a little diversity, and there's nothing funnier than that guy running around with a 10 intelligence. So there's one last method we have to talk about. So say you really want to get a game in, but you don't have a lot of time, and you have a lot of inexperienced players. The Quickfire Method is probably the best for this. Now, I'm going to read from the book because it gets kind of hairy. It's recommended if you just want to get running quickly. Allocate 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, and 80 where you want amongst your characteristics. And then have it, fifth it, and you're ready to go. Doc Brutus just reminded me that once you finish your other characteristics, we're going to have to work on the rest of the attributes. Things like damage bonus, build, hit points, sanity, and movement rate. To get your damage bonus and build, you're going to combine your strength and your size. Then you're going to compare that to this table. Then you're going to take those results and plug that into your character sheet. Your sanity, wicked easy. It is just your power. You take your power, you circle that on your character sheet and under your sanity. Easy day. Your hit points, however, is going to be your constitution plus your size. But wait, there's more. Divided by 10. So your character is going to look pretty squish. But I mean, against an Elder God, you probably look good with a side of ketchup. Now your movement rate. I'm just going to read it out of the book because it gets kind of convoluted. So if both your dex and your strength are each less than your size, you have a movement of 7. If either your strength or your dex is equal to or greater than your size, or if all 3 are equal, you have a movement of 8. If both your strength and your dex are each greater than your size, you have a movement of 9. Huh. R.V. Walters. I think I knew him. Oh, so we've just finished slotting the last of our characteristics, right? Now we get into the most convoluted part of character creation, and that's finding an occupation, which, a lot like life, will take up the majority of your character creation. Thankfully, the guys at Chaosium have put a bunch of sample occupations in both the Keeper's Guide and the Investigator's Guide, so you can use those templates to help you build your character. However, if you really just don't want to do any more math, there's also the Quickfire Method, which is what I like to do. I'm going to read it straight from the book, so bear with me. You get to allocate the following values amongst the 8 occupational skills. 1 at 70, 2 at 60, 3 at 50, and 3 at 40. And you get to assign those values directly to the skills. Now, and here's a nice little addition to your character. If there's already a percentage in that skill, you get to add the number you just slotted in there. So say, for example, you put some points in disguise. We're going to slot our 40 in disguise. This disguise already has 5%. So now your final skill total is 45%. Pretty cool, right? The last part of building your character is finding out your character's personal interests. My personal interests are long walks on the beach, video games, unicorns, and of course, Doc Brutus over here. But that doesn't really help me fighting an Elder God. So your character's personal interests is your intelligence times 2. And you get to slot those into any skills, including occupational skills you've already purchased. Now, if you're doing the Quickfire method, you can allocate 4 20% totals into any skill other than your occupational skills, which is a real bummer. But you're already starting with a whole bunch of really good numbers. So it's a trade-off. Name: Doc Brutus. Player: DocShippy. Occupation: mad scientist. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here in character creation. We have all our characteristics slotted, our occupation filled out. Really not much left other than credit rating, equipment, and our character's age, but all that'll come in our backstory, and can be usually worked out with the Keeper or GM. So with that being said, from all of us here at Enter the Gamer Actual, thanks for watching our video. Feel free to like it and share it as you see fit, and never game alone.